Welcome to Could It Exist in Real Life, where guys like us do follow the fucking sky, you know? Now, this is by far the latest and greatest Legend of Zelda game in the world. There's an old saying, if you can't move forward for a while, go back to the beginning. And that's what they did. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword was the first of everything. It was the first game to explain the origins of Hyrule, the origins of Ganondorf, why Link and Zelda have been destined to fight evil, why that tunic is so important, and most important, the origin of the Master Sword. It is also the last Wii game ever to be made before the Wii U was released. That aside, this game holds a special place to my heart for reasons that I would rather keep to myself. The story begins on Skyloft, a big chunk of the world that's stuck in the sky. Everyone was prepared for the Great Wing Festival, an event where select students of the Knight Academy race their loft wings, a giant bird-like creature that is used for transport. The winner gets to spend the day with a girl who's chosen to dress up as the goddess Hylia. This year, Princess Zelda is chosen to dress as the goddess, and Link is among the racers. The other is Groose, a jerk that has his eye on Zelda, much to her disgust. Desperate, she makes Link train prior to the event, but Groose sees through their plan and steals Link's loft wing. They get it back and train for the race. Link wins and spends the day with Zelda. During that time, Zelda and Link fly until a tornado knocks her out of the sky. Link now has to go down to the surface to rescue her, but first, a mysterious being seeks him out at the night. It goes by the name of Fi. Fi courses Link to the goddess statue, where he finds a sword, the goddess sword. Fi is the spirit that resides in the sword and has chosen Link to be her master. So together they work together, rescue Princess Zelda, and find out why she was taken. However, a man named Girahim has sinister plans for her. Now for the fun part. Could it exist in real life? First is the Beetle, a remote control flying bug that is used to reach hard to reach spots and carry things. Could this exist? Yes. There are dozens of remote control bugs. Some are kids' toys and others are robotic kits found in local hobby shops. Some can even fly. The second is a sailcloth, a cloth Link uses to slow his falls. Could this exist? Yes, like the Rock's Cape and the Deku Leaf, it's based off a popular air sport, in this case skydiving. Once again, I must advise you not to try this unless you're a licensed skydiver. The third is the Goddess Harp, our magical instrument of the game. It's used to open trial gates and reveal the time gate using the titular ballad of the goddess. Could it exist? Yes, but not in the way you think. Like Majora's Mask and the Fierce Deity Mask, the harp has significance to the deity it represents. Since the beginning of time, there have been different ways to appease the deities. One of them is being through music, from gospels into Christian churches to Hawaiian paley dancing. Even atheists who have no religious belief whatsoever appease said beliefs through music and dancing. I mean, come on, Weird Science by Oingo Boingo, that's clearly the atheist anthem. I kid, of course. Last but not least, there's the Goddess Sword, also known as the sword that became the Master Sword. Much like Twilight Princess, the sword demonstrated more unique abilities. From the Skyward Strike, beams of energy that are charged by the sun, and dowsing, a technique used to track down people and items Link need to find at the time. Could this exist? Yes, for the Skyward Strike, I explained before, it's used through a technique called solarizing. However, it will not shoot a beam of energy at your enemies. For dowsing, though, that's a different story. Many warriors, both real and fiction, often use their swords or signature weapons, not just for combat, but they guide them in the faith that their skill in cutting is just as good as their direction. Now for my final words in the series. If you stuck by me since the first game, you may have noticed that I referred to the princess Hylia as Zelda. That was no typing mistake. For in this game, Zelda wasn't just honoring the goddess. She was Hylia. As I look back in the games, I noticed some clues that seem to make up Skyward Sword as a whole. First being Zelda 2, when the prince made it law to make all princesses named Zelda, even though there were Zeldas before his sleeping sister. The second was in the Waker series, when Zelda went by the name Tetra, during her stint as a pirate. I came to the conclusion that Zelda is the last name, and because the first bloodline was the goddess Hylia herself, it would make sense that not all the Zeldas, but some, would be fully named after her. However, this doesn't make sense since it was the last name. Wouldn't the men in the family also be named Zelda too? Then I realized because the series was of Japanese origin, the last name would be first spoken and the first last. So switching the names around would make her Zelda Hylia. Where am I going with all this? Throughout history of the game, there were often mentions of the royal family, but never by name, and it was usually the first name in the English translation. For years I've been trying to find the name of the royal family, when I found out now that it was in plain sight. It was a royal family that founded Hyrule. Of all the races, the Hylians were the most prominent, and the first of its founders, Zelda of Skyloft, is the goddess Hylia in human form. I conclude that the royal family's name is Hylia, and that Zelda is the bearer of the Triforce of Wisdom represented by Nehru, the goddess of wisdom. Using all this, I conclude that the Zelda, the first of many, is fully named Zelda Nehru Tetra Hylia. As usual, debate, argue, and let me know what I missed. Stay tuned for more.